to this webinar, BrightX by Brightest. My name is Emily. Today we're receiving Beni Dhomi from the Agile Testers. Hello, Beni. So today we're going to speak about testing at the very beginning level. Yeah, this is for people who have never even programmed and written code. You're going to tell us everything in the most interesting way. I'm not spoiling anything for now, but what is important to know about you, you're an Agile automation tester and specialist, I should say, specialist, and a quality accelerator, which is a title that I absolutely love. But you will tell us more about everything. What I will ask everybody joining us today is to please keep your microphones and your cameras off, so then we can all connect and have a good quality of this chat. But of this presentation, sorry. But what I was meaning to say is, please feel free to write in the chat if you have any questions, any comments, because at the end of the presentation, we'll be happy to answer all of your questions. All right.
Well, this is the start of this webinar. I was asked once if I could learn a beginner to program. And I thought, well, I am and was a beginner and I program. So if I learned it, why not somebody else? I will talk about this now. First, I'll introduce myself, Beni Dhomi. I'm 40 years old, married, and we have a son. I'm a quality accelerator. And why this webinar? I just told you I would like to encourage the beginners in programming and in testing, especially test automation, to learn, because it's not so difficult. And special thanks go to my nephew Tony, who learned me to make the first pizza. Let's see, I will add Nico Swart in the room because he's just waiting to so I admitted him. So expected result. I hope you can be brave. This was one of the things that was mentioned in the Scrum Guide, but they removed it in 2020. I hope that anyone who thinks that development is a big mountain to climb can learn that it's not. You will learn to discover elements of web browsing and elements of which you will use in test automation, like Xpath and CSS elements, and learn the basic of the environments you will use, like repository and how you install Cypress and Node.js, and how to become a T-shaped Agile tester. Of course, these are all the beginnings of everything. It's not a full course. You cannot be Agile in half an hour. And the methods I will use is visualization and referencing on other real-life areas. So you will have a reference and your memory will trigger things and will learn faster. This helped me memorize the steps needed. I will reference to bake a pizza process, which I learned from my nephew Tony. Let's go. My nephew Tony told me, well, he's a specialist on pizza baking. He worked in a lot of pizzerias here in the Netherlands, also in Kosovo and also in Belgium. Very famous pizza baker, and not really, but famous for me. He learned me how to bake the first pizza. I asked him, can I learn? And he said, well, you can learn, but do as I do. Okay, I have another person, Estrin Palacios, I will admit him to. And he said, you can learn pizza baking by doing it, not thinking about it, not learning and reading books. Do it first. If the first pizza succeeds, then you will learn other variations which will come after a success. Expand your recipe afterwards. And remember, really the most simple stuff, these are the most beautiful things. As with pizza, also in test automation, the same principle. Memory reference of a pizza and test automation. Like for pizza, you need an oven and you need a fridge. That's in test automation, you need Node.js and you need a development environment or repository. You need a kitchen, and in test automation, you need a text editor like Vim or IntelliJ, VS Code, text editor, anything will work. You need a recipe, of course, that's the Cypress script. You need ingredients, store, local store, supermarket. And in test automation, you need browser developer tools and web inspector. At the end, you will have a result like a baked pizza, as you can see here. This is from my nephew Tony. Really, really good pizzas. And in test automation, you will have the script with the result, which is, of course, hopefully risk evaluated first. And a small excerpt of a script, how it would look in Cyprus. I'm talking this piece a little bit faster so we can go and start programming. And pizza process and test automated process is like in pizza you have recipe, test automation, you make the dough, make pizza of it, put ingredients on top, bake in the oven. Then you have the ingredients for the pizza, you buy them in a local store, you store them in a fridge. I have another person who wants to admit Christoph, admitted him. Then you have the dough, flour, water, salt, yeast, the on top ingredients like sauce, pizza type of cheese, oregano, other stuff, and you bake it on oven like 80 degrees, 8 minutes. Same stuff will go for test automation process. Like in the recipe, you will install the repository, you create the first script, and you can get them both free from my GitHub page. I made it ready for you with a small README I will show you later. It's really not so difficult to start and have a complete setup. Then you get the page element from the browser and run the script to inspect. The ingredients for pizza, for test automations, you will get them from developer tools, Control-I in your browser. The fridge is the repository. That's where you put the stuff so others can use and you can use too. And then you pull what you need from it. The dough is the test script itself. Like on top ingredients are Xpath, CSS elements. And then you bake the pizza. In test automation, you run the script and you click the webinar to see the results. Here under I've put it, do it yourself, evaluate the risk of a feature first, then think about the test. So you cannot just write stuff. You must first know how to evaluate, and things like that you can learn at Agile United. From this moment, I will go to my browser first, and I will show the page. I went to the Cyprus IO page, to the commands and actions, where you can see all the types of commands that you can use. This is a great page to have and to remember. You can have all kinds of responses from network requests, how to use them, how they use them. And I thought, let's take this page and try to automate one thing. And I would like to automate, let me see, this one. can we automate this form? So you need first the repository. This is the repository is free, open source. Everybody can download it. In this repository, I have also a cheat sheet, PDF, which is mentioned here, where all that you learned today and some more commands are mentioned there, so you can have a good start. I personally use VI, Vim, other words, but I can imagine that people like to use other IDs like maybe Notepad or maybe VS Code, maybe IntelliJ. Let's see. Maybe we can use. Let's start with this one in IntelliJ. This is VS Code. I first pulled from the fridge, from the repository, these files. So I went to my repository and read the description, installation. I downloaded Node.js, tested it and it worked. Then I got the repository from a zip file, or you can do the hard way, clone the repository with Git. Then you go to your folder that you downloaded stuff and you install. So this is your main setup. When you've done all this stuff, you will have a folder with a lot of files. And one of the important folders is the Cyprus folder, integration, and there you will see a file, webinar, TS. So this is the file that we will start to use. So let's start. Let's look at the structure that we use in Cyprus. I referenced first this line. I will not explain everything, as I want to stick to the process my nephew learned me. Do a simple pizza first, then repeat if it succeeds, go on further. By using this reference type Cyprus, you will get a lot of help from your VS Code, IntelliJ, and other IDEs. They will, you will see the outputs later on. You will learn how to visit a URL in Cyprus, how to use an inspector, and click a button and check some tests. Cyprus script always starts with describe, and that's a test file. Then we use an arrow function, and then it can use it. If you run this script, as mentioned in the README file of the repository, you will get the Cyprus GUI user interface. For this, I've put only one file, the webinar. If you click on this file, it will run the test. And this test, I will make it bigger font. Uses Cyprus webinar by Beni and login, use element, link, and check. You can see it's testing nothing. So it's an empty test. Let's start and make the first step. Let's visit a URL in Cyprus. I thought it's a good idea to use the kitchen sink of the Cyprus itself. So let's copy this URL. And every command, starting command of Cyprus, starts with CY. Dot. Now we can use the help of our ID to visit where it is, and then I paste the URL. Let's see if I save this. You see he's working, and we've got the URL that we wanted. I thought it would be nice to try to get this field, input field, then type something on it, and then click submit, and then see if something appears that we can check that we have submitted something. This is a really good test, and this is, I think, 50% of all the things that you will do with tests in Cyprus. You will go somewhere, input something, check the response, go to the next thing, input something, make an action, check the results. So we have a small script that will do this one. Now we will go back to our script, and I will make a small error. So let's see what happens to Cyprus. I will put this dash. Let's go, and you see error. If I destroy the URL, it will try to go there again. Sorry, not found. So this is how it looks if you have an error. And a green flag is telling us everything went okay. Next step. How can I access this field? Well, every browser, I use Firefox, every browser has its own tricks of trade, but all of them have this beautiful element inspector with right mouse click, inspect element. But you can also use Control, Shift, and I on your tab, and then you will see this web inspector. I will only explain a little bit of it. The inspector itself is the DOM, all these HTML files that we use. Let's close that one. And the console will show us some interesting stuff if we need programming. At the network tab, I usually use the XHR, which will tell me the backend processes going and requests and responses and stuff like that. So, but we will learn today only the front end, a bit small step. So how can I access this input? Every web inspector has this capture button, also accessed by Control, Shift, and C. So if you click on it, it will enable you to go to any element and show that piece of element on the inspector. So I click on the get element, then I go to the element I want, the input field, and it will show on the right. How to use this one? Let's see. We want to get the Xpath. I've made this whole thing ready for us for Xpath, the repository, and for CSS elements. I wanted to explain them both. Sometimes Xpath is better, sometimes CSS elements, so you can access both of them. You click right mouse on them, then go to copy and copy the Xpath. Now I want to test this Xpath that I've copied. Is it a unique Xpath? Am I not accessing a lot of stuff? So you go to the search button here and you paste the Xpath that you just copied here. And then you do enter and it will show it's 1 of 1. So, and that's what we want to see. I will make it bigger. Because if this one was 2 of 1 of 22, that will not work. Cyprus will give us an error. I will show that later on. So let's use this one. So we want to get the Xpath for usage. Again, let's type sci.x, and because we used reference Cyprus, Cyprus knows it's the Xpath. And you can paste on it what you just copied from your web browser. And then save the script. Go to the running Cyprus, and it's visited, and it visited the Xpath. And I think, yeah, all went well. But that's not all we want to do. We also want to type something in the Xpath. Now you will learn something beautiful in Cyprus. You can chain a lot of commands on one parent command. You can chain them with dot, like this. And immediately our editor will show us the top extensions, but you can use your own. Let's try type. Can we type? Yes. Type and open. Let's type pizza. If I save this one, go to the test, go there, and look, typed pizza. You can repeat the test again. And it typed pizza. Now we want to click on submit. So again, this is like going to the reference of pizza baking. You go to the shop and you buy ingredients. That's what we are doing in the web browser. You go to the web inspector and you get this CSS or Xpath. Let's capture the CSS now. So you learn how to use CSS. You go to the capture button and you go to the submit button, and you see on the right side it colors blue. Click with the right mouse, copy. Now we want to copy the CSS selector. If I paste in the search of the HTML, it will show me 1 of 1. Let's first use this one. Afterwards, let's make a mistake and see what's the difference on this number 2. So let's type pizza. Okay. Now let's get the CSS for the, yes, so we go to sci, dot get. Again, open the with one and paste your CSS selector. Let's try to save this one and see the result. Okay, on the left side, you'll see we visited one thing. Then we use the Xpath. Then we've typed pizza. Then we got this button. We are doing nothing with this button yet, but we can use click. So before clicking on it, let's see if I remove, I will show it here. If I remove this number 2, let's remove this whole thing. You will see that the browser is giving us 1 of 7. If I use this as selector in Cyprus, it will go there, but it will not know which one to use, so it will give us an error. Let's see that error first. Going to visit URL, going to Xpath, typing pizza, and getting the button. But you see, it's showing us 7 of them. Which one do you want? And he have highlighted them all like, okay, I have a lot of buttons, but I didn't click, I don't know what to do with them. I want to learn you another thing, and that's how to access the console, because Cyprus also have a console. We can click on Ctrl-Shift-I or click on the page, element, inspect. And now we don't need the inspector, but we need the console. The beauty comes if I click on one command, it will show us the results. So I click the Xpath and he will show the result. I will make it bigger so you can see a little bit more. And you can click open and you will see a lot of stuff going on. This is one input element of DOM, of the browser, of HTML that we have got here with Xpath. And you can see all the stuff we could do with it. All these elements you can access, you can read them, and some of them you can write. Some of them you can use as an action. You'll see we've typed pizza. It will show us what it typed, and it used one element to type that one. Then we went to get the one element, and this is a field, and now it's showing us it's an array of 7 elements. If I will now click on it, we have this button. We want to chain like we did in this coupon code. We typed pizza. I want to access this one and .click. Because it's a function, we always use. If I go to our test, look, it failed on click. And if you open the inspector and go to the console and you click on that step, that particular step, it will show what went wrong. And the error is click can only be called on a single element. That's normal, because if I told you go and click 7 buttons, click 1, it won't work. So that's why you need to go to this web inspector, copy the selector or the Xpath, and test it. Make sure that it's showing 1 of 1. When it's showing 1 of 1, then you know that you are clicking the right one, or you're using the right one. So I will change this selector with a good one. And let's go to the test and see what happens. Yes. I will show what happens here. Also, we typed pizza and we clicked. I will make it bigger. And then we clicked submit. Now you see something very beautiful that we can really use in testing is it gave us a response with your form has been submitted. This will make our test very easy, because in this way we know that the front end get this action and responded to us with an answer by adding this one. So we go capture the element, we go to the text element, this one, and let's see what I've planned. I will use both of them. Let's first try copy Xpath. Let's see how this Xpath looks like. I don't really like the Xpath. Well, let's see if I capture it with CSS. Will it be more prettier? Well, what do you think? Let's try this one. Let's try CSS. So this is the CSS I've done. So we go to the checksum test, try get. Let's first go and get that one. Let's see on our browser, on our runner, I should say. Yes, it's all, he clicked, it went well. Let me make it bigger. Oh. And then he got this element and no errors shown. So it's all okay. Now let's learn something new. You can chain, and let's test that this element should contain some text. You can chain, and let's just type it has contains. And then what should it contain? Your form has been submitted. We can, because it contain and it's not equals, we can use just one, this, like this text. Let's see if that would work. I assume it will work. Yes, because this form contains this text herein. Command contains content. Form has been sub and elements 1. So this is working. We can also use equal, and this will of course fail because equal oh no, equal is only accessible for numbers. Okay. Another thing is you can beautify your code by everything that you chained on one parent command, you can put it on a new line like this, and it will still work. If I format the document, it will make it beautiful for us. Also with click, we can put it underneath. So now you know in this parent element, we've typed pizza. In this parent element, we've clicked. And you can see that anything beyond 2 slashes, it's a comment. Anywhere you put a comment, it will work. And on this parent element, a very, very big CSS contains form has been sub. This have worked. So before I go on with 5 more minutes, I will recapitulate. Let's try to see what we've learned. Then I will show something nice. Memory reference of baking pizza. This is a pizza process. Make the dough, buy stuff, put it in the fridge, make it and bake it. Test automation. Get the repository, create the script. You already will get this from me freely. Get the elements. You will have to do it yourself and run the script. Then you've tested the script, you've used elements, and you run user interface, and you clicked on the script. Another last thing I wanted to show you is this cheat sheet where I explain some of the elements. And I will also give you like top commands. You can wait milliseconds, like 1000. You can type a text, you log messages, you can use Xpath and change something after it. And you will all of them learn on this URL. Second page of this cheat sheet, it is explaining you the comparison and checks in a short way. You can learn more about them in Cyprus commands contains. This official page of Cyprus. You can get the repository. You can also use Cyprus in the same way for backend testing. You will get stuff or post to the API, XML or JSON or REST, whatever, and it will get a response and you can act on that response. Also about this network request, you can learn on this URL. And of course, you should know more about testing, like know your project, know your products, and make risk assessments. And you automate only things that you know that you know. You don't automate all of them, only the really, really nice stuff. It's another way of saying, go to Agile United and have an Agile seminar, learn stuff, and get going. It's not easy to program. As I've shown to you, this is a small script. If I remove all the comments, it's really not a lot. And it does beautiful work. And the last, not least, if you go with your IntelliJ or VS Code or any other ID on a command of Cyprus, it will show what is using, and it usually also have a lot of pages showing you more examples of how to use it. One like Xpath have example of using Xpath. Click have its own examples, so you can really learn programming in this way. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, put them on the chat now, and I'll try to explain them to you. I will give it back to Emily.
Thank you. Actually, we did see a question pop out during the talk, so maybe you could respond Sigmund first, and then we can keep seeing the rest of the question. And if Sigmund, you'd like to activate your microphone so you can explain your question better, please feel free, of course.
I see the first question is from Sigmund. If it has a unique code as this one, do you still need to use get in Cyprus? What do you mean with unique code?
Hey, Benny.
Hi, Sigmund.
Let me see. I know automation from Robot Framework.
Yes.
And you have like on a website, if you take like the example of the button, some developers put a unique code to every button or something like that, like button 23.
Okay, maybe I can share the screen again. I can show that. Yeah. Okay. Let's. I know what you mean. There is a nice hack, nice trick to it. I learned it from Ian Brody, who is my colleague. Like if you go to one element, like let's take this submit button. Let's go to a real browser. Yeah, this button. It will layout. It has properties. All these properties you can use on your advance. Like label coupon code for coupon code, you can use that as a Xpath. Let's see if that will. No, this one will not do. For myself, I use extension, Chrome Path, or Selectors Hub, or any other free extensions that you want. And you can see that if I capture something, it will show me its unique why is not showing right now? Yes, like this. It's input ID coupon code. Is this what you mean, Sigmund?
No, myself I use Xpath helper and Catalan and stuff. That's also some.
Same thing.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. But some developers, like when you start a project, you can tell a developer from because the project is so big, I want you to use like IDs for certain things.
Yes, IDs. I know now what you mean. That's a little bit more advanced stuff, but every element on HTML on DOM uses these IDs and classes and more elements on it, attributes we call them.
Yeah, correct. Because Xpath is the last resource I use in automation actually.
We can use all the CSS selectors. That's not a problem at all. You just don't use Xpath. you use CSS, and CSS is get. So let's go to this coupon code. Let's go to the button, get, copy the CSS, and let's paste it. And I assume this will give us a green flag because it's the same stuff. Yeah. I've added Xpath only to help some of you, because with Xpath you also can access and evaluate some code, like contains text.
Yeah.
You cannot do that with CSS, but sometimes CSS is more beautiful. It's just, I like to use them both, because in that way I will also test the DOM and HTML, like is it performing well, and but you're free to use them both or none.
Okay, and my last question is because Cyprus is new to me. I use robot framework.
Yes.
The sentence you put like get and then the button and then click on the button. Can't you just use click instead of get? Do you always have to use get?
You want to click on something, then he must know where to click.
Yeah, I understand. That's why I asked
Yeah.
you about the
Yeah.
uniqueness of the like the button.
Yeah. In Cyprus, you first have like a parent,
Mhm.
and a parent is an ingredient, an element. You first want to tell him, like, this is the thing I want to do stuff with. Now, chain with dot type. You could go on this pizza, type pizza, and then type Beni, and then type, and this is also, but this is more advanced, but you could also type enter and type,
Okay.
or let's
So
type,
we don't see your screen anymore.
oh, you don't, oh. I'm sorry.
No, it was a very nice demonstration.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have this thing also with my wife, like I tell stuff, but like she's saying to me, why didn't you know? Well, I cannot read your mind. This is the same thing happening here. Okay, let's see what he will do. It will go to this page. He will type pizza, try to type top. It didn't work. Okay, remove top. Let's try to type pizza Beni. Well, okay, you see, it typed twice, so it works. But it needs an element to do something. You cannot, I can click on this element. I hope this is the last example I'm giving to you, but just to emphasize, like, you can do anything on one element. Tell him this one I need, and then you can do anything that you can do with this one. Another hack I use a lot, really a lot. I do this one, then response, and then try log response. This way, I will log, and if I open the console and I go to the log, I will see the whole input element. And in this way, this is real advanced stuff, but in this way, I can see everything the developer have programmed and more than that.
Yeah.
I can use node name should contain input, or ID should contain coupon code.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry, Sigmund. I will have to allow other questions to be answered before otherwise we won't have enough time for everything. But thank you so much. I hope your question was well answered. Thank you, Beni, for all your demonstration. We had another question that came through WhatsApp. That was, so I think you partly responded it already. Is there a repository for a beginner setup available?
Yes, because Cyprus beginner setup is not so easy. The special thing that it makes not easy is how to install it and what do you need. I've done this with a lot of companies, so I know this works. And I've added some plugins and some really advanced stuff. But if you just follow these steps, you go to this repository and you follow these steps. I will put it on the chat afterwards. You will be able to do what I've just done here. You go to the repository, get the repository, open it, and then go to the terminal and run npm run end-to-end GUI. Or if you have IntelliJ, click on the package and then click on play GUI, and it will run the script for you. It will open this thing, and when you click on one of the tests you are doing, it will open. This should work out of the box without any question. I've tried it in a lot of computers. Macs, PCs, Linux, it works. If it doesn't, contact us.
Exactly, that's the right one. And there's something that we saw in your presentation, and I'll jump on the occasion to ask you about it. You were mentioning Agile United. So yes. Agile United, we work together on this project, so I would love for you to say a bit more about this. So what can it bring for the testers who are watching us today? What can they learn through it?
Well, this Agile United is a really nice thing to have in your toolbox, because you go there and you have a lot of courses that you can learn real life stuff that will get you agile. So it's not theory you're learning there, you really learn by example. Really good teachers there. I've followed 2 weeks ago a really nice Xpath certified agile tester practitioner course, and I enjoyed it. Really, in 4 days you learn a lot. And the thing that you will learn is also like things that I mentioned here. Know your projects, know your products, make a risk assessment. How do you do this stuff? What do you automate and what do you don't you want to automate? So I really recommend these courses from Agile United. Great stuff.
Fantastic, thank you. Yes, I think this is the aspect, the perspective to insist on, that here you have a practical course to go further into
yes.
testing. And of course, if you have any question about this scheme, this course, and the certification that goes together, you're welcome to contact us. As soon as you, if you may pass me the host, I may share, we have a
yes.
site with all the contacts. So I'll be happy to share that now.
Yes.
I am still not the host, Beni.
Okay, I have to make you host. Yes. The 3 dots.
Exactly, and I will ask you a last question meanwhile, but if you have any question about anything we've seen today, or you would like to know more about Brightest and the certifications we have, about the Agile tester, and the perspective, as you saw today, about Agile and testing that is quite out of the box and practical and entertaining, then it will be a wonderful way to contact us. All right.
I'm trying to make you...
You're not managing.
No.
Oh.
Record on this computer, record on this cloud, but I don't have...
That's okay. It's very agile.
Yeah.
You
just tried it yesterday. It worked, but today...
Okay. Then in that case, we will publish all the links. I will put that in the chat and tell you out loud, but you can visit us at www.brightest.org, and I will add in the chat. And meanwhile, we have one more minute. Maybe do you have a minute to respond one more question, Beni?
Yes, yes.
All right. So the first questions we received was, how do I start with Cyprus at my company? A very general question, but maybe you can tell us more about that.
Well, the best thing I would say, go to this Agile United and take a course on Agile practitioner, because there you will learn that like test automation is a toolbox on your testing skills. And how do you start? I would say try to automate a thing that will help you like generate initial data collection. I use it now in one of the companies. We create a lot of initial data with test automation, and it gives us all these IDs, and then we can do tests with them. I've done this in my free time because it's not so difficult, and don't do it your own. Contact other people so you can see how they work, and also you can learn from them and let them learn. So try to automate something that you know that it always works. Don't automate bugs. That we don't want to automate things that we don't know. We automate only things that we know them. So I hope that answers your question.
I hope it answers the question everybody asked. If there is any more, please let us know. I've added in the chat the contacts, so you're welcome to join us anytime. For now, I think we're getting to the end of the time we have here for this webinar, but I'd like to thank you very much for this demonstration. It was definitely more entertaining than many other ways to look at testing. It shows that we can all start testing and make it in a, there you are. I'm a contact.
Okay, I've got this, yes.
Thank you. So here are all our contacts, and well, then I will wish you all a very lovely evening, and see you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye. Be brave. Be brave. Start. Just start.
Be brave.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.